hope that these stories will encourage you to believe that it's not too late. I got something to tell you, something to say. I hope you're ready for some good news, for some good news. Hi there. It's that time again where I tell you some good news because we need it. There are many ways to think of being a late bloomer, but when I think of someone who's a late bloomer, I think of someone who finds what they're really passionate about and what they're successful in a little bit later than expected, than the traditional timeline that we're given in this society, which we could argue about timelines and concepts of what should happen and age and all of that. But for the purposes of this video, we will define a late bloomer as someone who achieves success later than usual. I've also seen it defined as people who experience success later in life, but also have had to endure a lot of challenges, setbacks, or a complete shift in their lives, career paths. And that one also resonates with me. I have felt like a late bloomer many times in my life, and I still do sometimes, but I also think that things happen when they're supposed to, and that's just my personal belief. There's some back and forth and some nuance there, I think, to the concept of a late bloomer, at least I see it pertaining to my life. So let's get into some late bloomers, and I hope that these stories will encourage you to believe that it's not too late to do the thing that you want to do, or to achieve success, or to really do anything. We are not defined by our age, and we are not defined by our past. We are able to define our own lives for ourselves at any given time. So let's see. The first late bloomer that I thought about, and this is an unconventional one, but it's Agatha Christie. You may know Agatha Christie as a mystery writer with her characters Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. But what I didn't know about Agatha Christie is that even though she experienced success as an author, she went through a very tumultuous time after the death of her mother and the divorce from her husband. She kind of went off the rails a little bit. And when she returned to herself, she found herself falling in love with an archaeologist, but also archaeology itself. And so she spent her later years in various countries assisting her husband in archaeological digs. And she kept writing, but her real focus every day was photographing archaeological sites and uncovering the mysteries of the past. And that's really where she flourished in her life. And I thought that was rather beautiful because she had experienced commercial success as we would see it. She was a best-selling author and a successful author, but her real desire in her late life was to pursue knowing about ancient civilizations through archaeology, and she really gave herself over to it, and that was, I thought, quite lovely. Let's look at some other late bloomers. So I've been all over the internet. I've been to Solvita. Latebloomer.com is a great website. They're not currently posting, but there's a ton of archived articles about late blooming, late bloomers, the concept, the people that embody it. And so I really recommend laterbloomer.com. Oh, NPR did a special in their perspective section in November of 22 about not super famous late bloomers, but just people who found what they loved later in life and are finding success and happiness in that, despite what the world may say. So, Mombi Maturi is a photographer. She's based in Nairobi, Kenya, and she was in her mid 50s in 2022, and she had just started her photography journey 6 years prior, and she has some really, really beautiful photography. And she says, I would be considered a late bloomer, but I don't think I am because I can't imagine doing it at any other age. I consider myself a young photographer, even though I'm not young. I'm young at heart. And I thought that was really lovely. Of course, we have Colonel Sanders, who was later in life when he began and established his restaurant empire. Here's one that's near and dear to my heart because he is a songwriter, but his name is Rick Klingman. He says in 2019 he turned 70 and he got the songwriting bug. Understand. Always loved music, but never thought of himself as a songwriter. But at 73, he produced a song project called The Song Seeds and has 35 original songs there. And they are reflecting the theme of weakening democracy, unhinged political party, dangers of ignoring climate change. So it's really speaking to what's going on in society and cultural influence. And I love those kind of songwriters. I remember the first time that I heard Tracy Chapman way back when I was a child. I just loved that she talked about real struggles, real people, and she didn't shy away from it. So that's Rick Klingman. Plenty of others. Grandma Moses, of course. Julia Child is another one. At 49, she published her first cookbook, and at 51, she had her first her first television. At 51, she had her first televised cooking show. At 69, she co-founded the American Institute of Wine and Food. At 72, she finished a series of 6 videotapes named The Way to Cook. And then her life was dramatized in a movie, and she was played by Meryl Streep. That's amazing. One that I didn't really know about is the owner of McDonald's. He was a milkshake salesman, a milkshake machine salesman, and he was trying to sell a milkshake machine, as one does when that's their job. And at 52, he ended up buying McDonald's, and then he established it after many financial hurdles, and now it is what we know. I mean, everybody knows McDonald's. So it's amazing that at that age he was able to do those things. But here's the thing, is it really amazing? Why are we boxed in to the concept that our best ideas and our most successful ideas only happen when we're young? Maybe it's because we typically have more energy when we're young, but I think that the process of aging edits and weeds away those things that are extraneous and allows us to then focus and really get in and dig into our psyche and our desires and to our joy, and allows us to see what's really important to us. So call it late blooming, call it midlife success, call it, whatever you want, honestly. But these stories encourage me because I have heard from many people in my life that, oh, at the age of 45, like you're not going to do anything big. You're not going to do anything, it's just basically chop wood and carry water from here on out. And I refuse to believe that. I know that I have great ideas in here and a desire to share them with people through music and through teaching and all of the things that I pursue in my life. And I will continue to do that and bloom exactly as I'm supposed to with the time that I have. And I think that everybody can do that. So tell me, have you ever been a late bloomer? Would you consider yourself a late bloomer? Or are there areas in your life that you would consider yourself a late bloomer, but maybe not so much in your career? Let me know. I'm very curious. I know I can't be the only one. And while I don't expect anybody to have the same exact experience as I do, I just am super curious to see what your concept of late blooming is and if you agree. It's never too late. You have this life, this moment, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something, because you probably can. Perhaps not in the traditional way, but I bet you can do it. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope that these stories have inspired you. I really want this to be a series where you feel encouraged, and so I hope that you feel encouraged, and I hope that you find your joy today. Just a little sliver, even if it's just a little bit. Find a pocket of joy in this day, and that you cling to it, and that it makes you smile.